So we're here making the 200-foot axe throw. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome to this video. I am Wes, the Suburban Viking.
I'm Dave, and I can't wait to prove today that my axe rituals work.
And we're doing the 200-foot axe throw, I promise you guys.
You'll see.
Got the target down range, as you can see, way down there. And I've got the ground marked because you're supposed to mark the ground where you're throwing from. So everybody knows that you have a spot to throw from. Anyway, not much talking. I'm warm, I'm ready to go. We're gonna attempt the 200-foot throw. We're just going to get to it. But before we do, Dave, any advice, buddy?
Best advice, don't miss.
That's not really advice, man. I need some actual advice.
Just hit the damn target, for Odin's sake.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the whole point of this, right? You got to hit inside the 5 rings. Anything outside the 5 rings doesn't count. Some of you already probably know this, but apparently there's some online that do not.
Might be it.
Now let me tell you guys, the start of this thing was just all kinds of crazy. The day that I was going to do the axe throw was just a complete disaster, okay? I ended up having to work that morning, so I had to get up at 5 something in the morning, which I didn't plan on doing. Didn't know I was going to have to work. And I had to get a replacement to come in. I got home around like 11:30. On the way home, there was an accident on the interstate, which put me another 45 minutes back. It was just a complete nightmare that day. It was like everything that could work against me was working against me.
The darkness of Loki is always present.
Yeah, if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. So we got home and I realized, guys, that I had not done anything to the axes yet. Sharpened the bits, sharpened the spikes, whatever. So I went ahead and sharpened everything, which put me back even farther because I had so many bits to sharpen and so many spikes to sharpen. A lot of the spikes that we used didn't even have edges on them. So I had to create an edge first and then sharpen them. But after we got everything sharpened and ready to go, we were set. So we kind of put everything in the wheelbarrow and walked it over to my neighbor's house, kind of going back and forth, forgetting things, needing the table to put the axes on, trying to coordinate who was going to stand down range out of the way to bring the axes back to me, which we got my son on his electric bike, and they would kind of run over there and grab each axe after I was done throwing. And then when I was done, I'd yell at him, "I'm out." And then they'd give him to my son. He'd put him in his tote, and he would ride his bike down there. So it was pretty fun. It was a good time. At least it was. I'll say that. Now we got everything marked off. Everything was 200 foot. It was correct measurement that was done to make sure it was 200 feet, and we were all set. I had the ground marked, so that way I knew where I had to stop at to release the axe, and I saw the target down range. Now I will be honest with you guys, when I looked at it, I told you before, I've never thrown it 200 feet. 100 to 120 feet, I can throw consistent. I don't mean just hoping and praying with a throw I can hit that. I can hit it pretty regularly. Anything past that, I really don't have the room for, so I never really thought about throwing past that. So I decided, like I told you guys, I was going to go for the world record and do 200 feet, and that's exactly what we did. And when I set that target up, and I was standing there at that line, and I was looking down range, I was like, man, that's far. That is a far throw. Now, the bad thing about it was we got everything set up, okay? And I like throwing footballs. If I don't come over here and throw axes to warm up, I'll throw a football. It has the same kind of hand movement and gesture as the way that I throw axes, okay? Couldn't find a football. No one had a football anywhere, so I decided to warm up with a baseball. And that was literally the worst thing I could have done. Because throwing a baseball, you have an open hand, okay, when you're coming back, and then you throw, you come with, like this. Not the same movement for my axe throwing. This is why I like using a football. And it threw me off. It really did. I got warmed with a baseball, and then I started throwing, and I noticed that my axe was wanting to rotate in the air sideways. And it was because I was trying to come... I was just doing something weird, which is why I don't like warming up with baseballs. So after throwing the axe for a little bit, I really had to kind of sit back and go, okay, this isn't working. I need to take a break and work on my wrist control and really trying to prevent the baseball throw that I really just kind of morphed myself into. Now, going through each axe and telling you how they performed at that distance, the calculated survival Norse throwing hatchet wasn't the best. I noticed that past a quadruple rotation, it started to kind of wobble and do this. Now, I will say, I think it's because, just speculation here, that center strip, the 3D printed core that broke out of it during the review, I think with this opening right here, it caused flight issues. The wind was catching on the inside, and when it got past that quadruple mark, it just wanted to fly weird. My brother threw it too, and he had the same issues. So I'd like to throw this one again for distance at 200 feet and see how well it does with maybe that 3D printed core back in the center. But like I said, I noticed it was catching the wind weird, and it just wanted to fly odd. But triple rotations in, it's a hell of a thrower. Now the Francisca axe was a different story. I had my longest and best throw with the Francisca axe at 227 feet.
I think that's the one to throw.
Yeah, babe.
Yeah, that one is the one to throw. That's how far I was able to throw the Francisca axe. But I just wasn't super accurate with it. When it would get about to 160 or 170 feet, it was wanting to really trail to the left. And as you'll see here when I was throwing it, I had the distance, no problem. I could go back even farther with the Francisca axe. I can, and I plan on doing it in a future video, but it just wanted to curve way too much for me. Like I said, at around the 160 to 170 foot mark is when I really noticed it starting to kind of like tilt on its side and wanted to go left of the target. So that's something I'm sure that has something to do with the way that I throw. I'm sure it's me, because this thing is awesome at triple rotations and quadruple rotations. So I don't think it's the actual axe. I think it was just the way that I was throwing and the way that it was catching itself in the air. But man, what a freaking laser beam this thing is. I could heave this thing. I'm just going to speculate here. I bet I could throw this thing every bit of 230 feet. I bet I could on a good day. With the wind in my back and my arm feeling good, I'm thinking I got 230 with the Francisca axe. But at the end of the day, the ones that got me sticking and the ones that got me hitting at 200 feet and the ones that really were the most consistent were the World Axethrowing League competition hawks. Now guys, I will tell you this, these things weigh almost the same as the other two. There's really not much of a weight difference. I think the Francisca's like 1 pound and 3 or 4 ounces. These are 1 pound and 2 ounces, okay? Now, if you're wondering why they look weird, I stripped the grip panels off and the grip tape to show you guys they are unmodified. I did not do anything to these. I threw them standard the way they come. Threw them exactly how you would get them if you ordered them, just so you know. I didn't cheat. I didn't take weight off. I threw it exactly how they came to me. And they flew really well. My brother and everyone else said that out of all of them, I threw these the most consistent out of all, okay? I was throwing these a little bit farther than the target most of the time, but I'll be honest with you, I was dead on at 200 feet. 200 feet to 205 feet was where I was hitting most of the time with these. And as you'll see here in the video, my actual smash, I was setting up and I was throwing over and over and over again, and I was hitting all around the target, to include hitting the target.
Oh!
That's it. That's it. Ah!
Oh, shit. Didn't stick.
Okay, I hit the target a few times, but I wasn't sticking. So I really kind of had to just adjust a little bit. And in my mind, I knew that I needed to put more of an arch on it, but I wasn't. I was still trying to throw a line drive. And if you guys have ever heard of this saying, it really works for me in axe throwing, which was, I had to get under the axe. I kept wanting to get above the axe, on top of the axe, I should say. And what that means is that when I was setting up to throw, I wanted to get on top of the axe with my wrist. which was not the greatest technique at that distance at 200 feet. It works really well up to quadruple rotations, but for that distance, you really have to get underneath the axe and push it and give it that arch. And I noticed that when I first started throwing these, I was on top of the axe all the time, on top of the axe, throwing more of a line drive, and the accuracy was a little off too. And I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I really had to kind of just sit back and really think about what I was doing, and then I figured it out. So I set myself up thinking, get under the axe, get that arch on it. And I came up to that spot on the ground where I needed to throw from, and I let that son of a bitch go. And man, that thing was high and was trailing. And if you guys hear in this video, you can hear my brother say something on the lines of, I think that's it, or I think you got it. Because he was standing right behind me and he saw it too. I saw it. I knew it was going to hit, but I was hoping it was going to stick, and it did.
Might be it. Got it.
Oh!
Got it.
Boom!
Yeah.
Yeah!
Oh, damn!
I'm not.
You got it inside the fourth ring. Good.
Oh.
You know what's crazy? Literally right as it was in the air, I was imagining it hitting it. And everyone celebrating. That's crazy. And you hit it with the bat. Oh my god, you did it. You did it.
You listen to this thing, that thing was coming hot. Did you hear it? Boom, and smashing the target. That thing had some force behind it. So those things did really well. I'm not taking anything away from them. They flew really well. They were very consistent, and I had no issues at all smashing those things into the target. Sometimes I would hit it and bounce off, but for the most part, I was very consistent with the competition hawks. When I go back and look at the video in editing and I think about when I was out there throwing, it really didn't take me as long as I thought it would. I was really concerned because we got started really late in the day at around like 3 something, a little after 3. And I was like, man, I'm only going to have about 2.5 hours light. I expected to be out there till dark throwing. But guys, I'll be honest with you, I hit it pretty quick. Now, it wasn't like I threw like 10 throws and got it. I mean, I was out there for a little while, but within like 30 or 35 minutes, I stuck. And that was it wasn't 30, 35 minutes of consistent throwing. You know, we were stopping and talking. I was waiting for them to bring the axes back. I was kind of taking a breather in between throws. So all in all, I didn't do all that bad. I hit really fast. For my very first time throwing at 200 feet, hitting within about 30 or 35 minutes, I'd say that was a success. Now, I did hit the target previously, but I'm talking sticking the axe into the target. Now, I will say I did stick the spike. And I really was wanting to go for a bit strike. But guys, you got to remember, I'm just being real with you and keeping it honest. I want to save my arm. I probably could have stayed out there and thrown a little bit longer. But guys, I was stretching it with that distance and my arm. I'm 42 years old, and I want to be able to continue to make content. So once I got the stick, I said, I think that's probably it. We'll come back out here. I've got nothing but time, guys. I can go back out there and do it again. But I think I had reached my threshold with my arm, and it was starting to hurt a little bit. I stuck and I was like, I think it's time to stop. I didn't want to push it too far. So we got it stuck, we got it into the target, and I called it success, guys. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm glad that for my very first time throwing at 200 feet, I was able to stick the axe, and man, that thing smashed. But you're probably thinking to yourself, Wes, you've got the world record now. Congratulations. Technically, I don't. But come back. Stick around, because in the next video, I'm going to tell you all about the BS going on with this world record attempt, and you're going to want to hear about it. Like always, guys, it's always for the love of the axe. Thanks for making this channel what it is, but until next time, see ya.
Surrounded by a bunch of damn cheaters. Probably friends with Loki.